How you doing, YouTube? Today I thought I'd show you the inside of the gear case of an RJ35. To be honest with you, I can't remember if I did the same thing for the prototype. So if this is redundant, then just stop watching, I guess. As you can see, the gear case has all been put back together for the most part. Everything's been cleaned, sanded, and honed. And one of the first things I did in order to get the gear case back together is I replaced the lower bushings. There are two bushings, 1 inch by 1 inch inner diameter, 1 1/8 outer diameter. There's one on this side and there's one on this side. They're 1.5 inches in length on both sides. There's no difference. As you can see, there it is right there. Cut them down to 1.5 inches, and then I kind of put them in with a hammer and a socket just because they're press fit in there anyways. The axle, completely filed the axle down to get all the burrs from the beat up woodruff keys done. Took the ends, made sure the ends are nice and clean. Shoe shine, sanded it down with 80 grit, and then I hit it with a cookie wheel the entire length, both sides. That way it deburred it, cleans it all up, gets it all set to go. Same thing on this side. You know, fixed all the woodruff key burrs, everything, just got it all nice and clean so that way the hubs and everything go back together. Now, when you put these bushings in and then try to slide the axle through, it won't go through. You have to hone them to fit the axle. So I just use a brake hone, one of those old school brake hones with the 2 stones on the springs. Put it in there, just keep going in and out until it's fit. Now you can tell that it fits pretty good. I mean, there's no slop. It does turn without any real drag. Okay. One of the things we did here too is cleaned the needle bearings. We put the stud back on and then the chain. And then there's a gear in there, and that's actually what happens. So obviously the power is transferred to this gear from the motor. Turns the gear, turns the gear, turns the gear, turns the axle. One thing I do with these posts is on the inside, down in there, I'll put a little black Permatex on it and then tighten it down with the bolt. That way you don't get that weeping out the back. Before I put all this stuff in, I will take a fiber wheel or a Scotch-Brite cookie wheel and go all the way around, make sure everything is squeaky clean, make sure the back of it's squeaky clean, and then that way you know you're going to get a nice solid fit, or a nice tight, as clean as possible fit. I'll go over it with brake cleaner before I put the gear case cover over it. Test fit your gear cases all the time. Some of them fit, go back together real easy, some of them don't. This one here, here's the gear case. It's all cleaned, ready to go. One thing I don't think I can show you with, let's see if it'll focus, and it won't. This camera sucks. But anyways, there are small striations all the way around this thing, like little grooves, you can actually hear it. Well, anyways, that's there to collect whatever gasket or sealer you're going to use. Don't use a cookie wheel or a sanding wheel on this because you'll wear those things down. I just take a wire wheel on my die grinder and then I just go right around it. Obviously this is the old oil seal from this side. It goes right in there. I have a new oil seal. I typically put the oil seals in after the gear case cover is installed. Only because with the woodruff keys and in the filing there might be a sharp edge and you'll ding it, and it just makes it easier because you kind of have to manhandle the gear case cover onto the shaft and ultimately to line up with the stud. But there you go. The other thing I did, which some may think are cool, some may not, the old bolts, which are kind of crusty on the outside, I ran them through a die, straightened out all the threads, and I'm going to use those so that way from the back side it just looks patina and original. One thing you got to do before you put the gear case cover on, you have to put the main pulley on. And the reason why is this bad boy slides around. You can actually see the bearing. slides. Actually, there's 2 new bearings. I forgot to say. There's an open race R12 on this side. That's what the type it's supposed to be, and then a sealed R12. So that way it spins real nice and smooth. So new bushings down there, new bearings on top. Everything was cleaned. Everything was cookie wheeled. Everything was wiped down the best of my ability with some brake cleaner. We'll do it all over again once we put the gear case cover on. Oh, one thing I do with the gear case cover, and some may hiss at this, but it's always worked for me. Ultra black RTV. Do not be cheap with this stuff. Put a lot. Goo the out of it. That's what I do. Screw it down. I use a torque wrench. I torque it to 12 foot-pounds all the way around. Then I let it sit for at least 24 to 48 hours before I put any kind of gear lube, ADW90, in it. That way you know it's cured, it's sealed, and you're not going to have any issues. Obviously there's a grease seal on this side. There is no grease seal on this side. So you may, over the course of time, get some weepage out of this side of the axle. Totally to be expected. Nothing to get mad at. All right, thank you very much, and we will talk to you shortly.